Hello and what's up everybody, it's the 17th Chronicler here, and I has built another MOC. Now, if you are a Bionicle fan, then you will immediately recognize this character. I do not only make regular MOCs, I do not only have a self-MOC, I do build revamps of different characters, and this is a revamp of the Rahkshi Vorahk of 2003. 2003 was a really good year. I like Mask of Light, unlike a lot of people, I'm sure. But this is a revamp of the Rahkshi Vorahk. Now, the Rahkshi were pretty good as is. Unfortunately, they can be bested, number one, by this. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this. Again, starting from the ground up, the feet. The feet are standard Bionicle rounded feet. I did add these pieces on the back because I didn't have anything else, like any other Technic beams that would fit. I know there are open ball joints, and I want to fix it, but I don't have any other Technic beams. So for now, they stay. His shins have some have some fairly custom armor on them. I used Pohachu's Nuva climbing claws as the silver part, and I added some Metru thigh cover on them by using a 3L beam. This was before I did the feet, so that's why I didn't have any beams. On the back, when I turn the back, you will realize that this is just a CCBS bone, because I have, and there it goes, I have attached a size 4 CCBS shell in trans purple. So, that just snaps on the back. And I mentioned Mask of Light a little bit earlier. Well, in Mask of Light, the Rahkshi had these different energy colors. I remember Panrak was the one that had the kind of the purplish yellow mixing, thing coming out of his staff in the beginning of the movie, when he was attacking, when he, Lirak, and Gurok were attacking Gali. But I remember that was purple, and originally I did try to make Panrak, but the result was Vorahk. So I just, went with it. Purple's a really good color. I really like purple. And I thought it would go well with the black of the Vorahk. So, going back to the legs, his thighs, thighs are just standard CCBS. I did use the size 5 shells that came with Onua, Uniter of Earth. There's some transpurple bones under there. Yes, Onua and Uniter of Earth did come apart. I think he's a fantastic set, but he did come apart. I'm a mockist, not a collector. Anyway, a couple of Rahkshi feet. What am I talking about? Rahkshi feet? Visorak feet. There are a couple of Visorak feet here as kind of armor, I guess, for the for his pelvis area. However, I did use the Uniter torso with the gearbox, but with that armor right here, the geared function doesn't really work because the armor gets in the way. Anyway, it was mainly to fill in the gap that was caused by the torso armor. So, I don't know. Speaking of the torso armor, it is a standard Hero Factory torso armor piece with a black add-on to make it look a little bit better. No printing on this. I was super happy to get one of those with no printing. The other one I had was with the Batman logo, and I wanted one without. If I turn them around so that we can see the back of the torso, it gets very, very Technic-y. Is that a word? It is now. But there's a lot of Technic back here. I did use the original Rahkshi kind of body piece, and a couple of Technic panels to try and armor it up. I didn't get it armored up all the way over here. Whoa, and he falls over. Yeah, I probably need to add some friction joints onto those ankles. But going back to the torso, this is very Technic-y. I don't know if I necessarily like it. A couple of Metru chest pieces in there. One in silver, one in black up there, but it's it's concealed pretty well. A couple of purple spikes in there, more purple. I did use the original Rahkshi Vorahk back that is still prone to coming apart. Let's see if I can. There you go. Okay. Yeah, that's the best I can do. I can't really. Actually, there you go. Rahkshi back. It doesn't really hold together all that well, as you can see, but okay, there we go. Snap back together. But it is the original Rahkshi Vorahk spine. I did want to keep that. It's pretty much part of what defined the Rahkshi back in 2003, apart from their staffs. That's pretty cool. Some Nuva shoulders up here to kind of fill in the gaps that was left after I built them. Let's see if I can. Okay, that's better. The neck is pretty straightforward. I used the ball joint on the front of the Rahkshi spine to connect it to kind of keep the neck stable, but it is a CCBS bone in trans purple up there, and there's 1 point of articulation in the head, and it uses the regular Rahkshi head with those same orange eyes. Arms are pretty much just straight up CCBS, but I did add a couple spikes on the top armor piece just to make it look cooler. Actually, I'm gonna remove that right there so you can see kind of the inner workings of that torso build. See how that's concealed, and then there's just the CCBS beam. Put that back on there, and it looks so much nicer. Okay, arms are pretty much just straight CCBS. Forearms are entirely trans purple. The staff. Whoa. Leg came off. Okay. The staff is built with the same concept that the new Uniter, the Toei Uniter weapons, the long spear weapons. Same concept with the kind of rotating thing, where I can rotate the hands. And I did use the Vorahk staff end pieces. Unfortunately, in some poses, this will look a bit off because of the different angles. So that's my Rahkshi Vorahk as of right now. Now, if you've known me for, I don't know, about a year, or if you've known my MOCs for about, I don't know, a year or two, I don't keep track of time anymore, but I have done a previous version of a revamp of the Rahkshi Vorahk. It looks very different, and I have not yet decided which one I like better as of yet, but this is my second attempt at revamping the Rahkshi Vorahk. So now I'm going to quickly go through my many photos from a long time ago, and I'm going to dig up some pictures of my original attempt at revamping the Rahkshi Vorahk. And I'll be back in a moment. Chronicler here, coming to you from the archive, and I am looking at some old photos that I took of my first ever revamp of the Rahkshi Vorahk. Going from the ground up, once again, the feet are this time just basically the large beast feet. They're basically just beast feet from Invasion from Below, and there's really not much to them. They're very boring, if I do say, they're kind of boring. Moving on up, the shins are a little bit more interesting. They are standard Rahkshi shins, yes, and they have Nuva armor attached to them, which is, I've done that a couple of times before, and I think it looks okay. It's not the best construction possible, but yes, it is okay. His thighs are very short, and it's just CCBS bones, very, very similar to my newer revamp of the Rahkshi Vorahk, except less purpley. The torso is a mess, if I do say so myself. The torso is a bit of a mess. There's a Vaki shin on the chest for chest armor, with a couple of Vorahk arms to fill in the gaps on the sides. And with so many ball joint connections in the torso, it's not the best build possible. I do realize that I could have done it better. However, the MOC is disassembled. This is what I have to show you. There's definitely a lot of ball joint connections. The neck is a little bit high up, and actually it's a lot high up. It's way too high up for my liking now that I look back at the MOC. Very far from the shoulders in terms of both forward and up. You can see that I have used the 2015 gearbox for this version of the Rahkshi Vorahk, whereas the newer one uses the 2016 version of the gearbox. Both of them have functions, however, the one in the older version, the 2015 gearbox, this one does work, as opposed to the not-so-functional one of the 2016 because of the placement of armor. My bad. So, a little bit of back armor in the form of a Paraka thigh cover. The pin is a little bit exposed, but I don't mind. To be honest, I really don't. Yellow gear kind of sticks out, but viewing it from the front, it's not such a big deal. Huge gears used on the gearbox. It's a little bit off to see those huge gears, but they're mostly covered up, and that brings me to the shoulder armor. The shoulder armor has 2 points of articulation. It's using the standard Rahkshi arms attached to Onua's shovel claw drill dig thingies, you know, from 2015. I did use the original Rahkshi spine and head, same as I did on the newer revamp, only on this older version, the spine is a little bit more upright, and the head is connected directly to the ball joint on the spine. Moving down to the arms, I do have transpurple bones, 2 transpurple bones, because that's all I had at the time, with some CCBS shells, and Rahkshi thighs, with Nuparo and Nika claws on the back. And just standard black connectors for hands. The weapon is very simple, and it's wielded it's a one-handed weapon. Not much to it. Then again, there's not much to the not the 2016, but the newer version of the Rahkshi. There's not a whole lot to that as well. It's a staff. Can you really do a whole lot? But anyway, I do think the Nuparo and Nika claws are a nice touch. I don't quite know if I should bring those back. The transpurple is really cool. Not sure if I want to replace that, but, you know. Going back to look at the torso, because that's where the main, that's where the most of the action is. It's very gappy, especially up towards the, getting in between the spine and the shoulders. That's very gappy, and I don't know how that looks, especially since the head is so far up and the shoulders are so far down. I don't know. I really don't know. It's very greebly as well, whereas the newer version is very solid, and, there's not a whole lot of detail visible from the front, because I covered it up with a a Hero Factory chest armor piece. The newer version is very greebly from the side and back, though, whereas this one is moderately greebly because of the use of the Paraka thigh armor. I definitely prefer the 2016. Well, why do I keep saying 2016? I definitely prefer the newer version of my Rahkshi Vorahk revamp to the old one. If you have a different opinion, please feel free to leave a comment telling me that I should recreate this older version of the Rahkshi Vorahk. I'm probably not going to, but go ahead and tell me anyway if you like it. And that is actually going to do it for my revamps of the Rahkshi Vorahk. This set was originally released in 2003, and I've created 2 versions of it here. And both of them are good MOCs. Obviously, one's better than the other, but it's a different matter. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like, a comment, or share it with your friends. I've got more MOCs to make, so I will see you all next time. This is the Chronicler, signing off. Goodbye.